Stand up right now. Walk 10 steps. Feel that heaviness in your legs, that aching, that fatigue that hits before you've even reached the kitchen. That's not tired muscles. That's starving muscles. Blood is not reaching your lower legs the way it should. Your arteries are narrowing. Oxygen delivery is failing. And 6 specific foods can force those vessels open again. Your doctor never mentioned a single one. Right now, your legs are receiving less blood than any other part of your body. After 60, gravity becomes your enemy. Your arterial walls lose flexibility. Endothelial cells stop producing nitric oxide, the molecule that keeps vessels dilated. Blood pools, pressure builds, your calves cramp at night, your feet turn cold. Wounds below the knee heal slower. And every month it gets worse because nothing in your diet is addressing the cause. Here's what nobody connects. That leg pain isn't orthopedic. It's vascular. Those cramps aren't from dehydration. They're from oxygen deprivation. That numbness in your feet isn't nerve damage. It's blood failure. But you'll see a joint specialist. Get an x-ray. Receive anti-inflammatories. A $450 billion cardiovascular industry treats your heart and ignores your legs until peripheral artery disease forces an amputation. Then suddenly, it's an emergency. It was always an emergency. Nobody treated it like one. Specific foods contain compounds that repair endothelial function, boost nitric oxide production, and thin blood naturally. No prescription, no compression socks, no invasive procedure. Published research proves they restore measurable blood flow to lower extremities within weeks. But this information stays buried in journals no patient ever reads. You walk daily, elevated your legs, took the aspirin, and your legs still ache every night because you never gave your blood vessels the raw material to rebuild. In this video, we will reveal 6 foods that boost blood flow to your legs after 60, ranked from least to most powerful. Number 1 dilates leg arteries so effectively it rivaled a prescription vasodilator in clinical trials. References are in the description. How old are you and where are you watching from? Drop it below. I read every comment. I reply personally. Now let's start with number 6. This food sends nitric oxide directly into your lower extremities, and most seniors haven't touched it in years. Number 6. Cayenne pepper. Most people think of cayenne pepper as just a spice that makes food hot, but what is actually happening inside your body when you eat it is far more interesting than the heat on your tongue. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, and capsaicin is what gives the pepper its burning sensation. But that same compound does something remarkable to your blood vessels. When capsaicin enters your bloodstream, it triggers the release of nitric oxide, which is a molecule that tells the smooth muscle cells in your artery walls to relax and expand. When those walls relax, the opening of the blood vessel gets wider, and more blood can flow through with less resistance. The study published in the journal Cell Metabolism found that capsaicin activates a receptor called TRPV1. And when that receptor is activated, it directly stimulates nitric oxide production. The researchers found that long-term dietary capsaicin consumption was associated with a significant reduction in blood pressure, which is one of the clearest indicators that blood is flowing more freely through the body. Another study from the Chinese University of Hong Kong showed that mice fed capsaicin-rich diets had measurably better endothelial function, meaning the inner lining of their blood vessels worked more efficiently at regulating flow. For humans over 60, this matters because endothelial dysfunction is one of the primary reasons blood flow to the legs decreases with age. The lining of your vessels stops producing enough nitric oxide on its own, and capsaicin essentially steps in to help pick up that slack. Now, the best way to use cayenne pepper for circulation benefits is not to dump a tablespoon onto your dinner and suffer through it. You want to start with about a quarter teaspoon mixed into warm water or added to soups, stews, or scrambled eggs. Warm preparations actually help the capsaicin absorb more effectively through your digestive lining. You can also sprinkle it over roasted vegetables or stir it into salad dressings with olive oil, since the fat helps your body absorb the active compounds better. Some people prefer cayenne pepper capsules, and those do work, but whole food sources tend to provide a broader range of supporting nutrients. Consistency is what matters most here, So using a small amount daily is far more effective than using a large amount once a week. If you have a sensitive stomach, start very small and increase gradually over a couple of weeks because your tolerance will build and the benefits will come without the discomfort. Cayenne pepper is the foundation of our list, a simple spice with serious science behind it. But cayenne is just the starting point because the next food on our list delivers a completely different type of circulatory benefit. Number 5. Watermelon. You probably think of watermelon as a summer snack, something refreshing and sweet that you eat at cookouts. But science has revealed that this fruit is essentially a circulation medicine hiding in plain sight. Watermelon is one of the richest natural sources of an amino acid called L-citrulline, and L-citrulline is the key to understanding why this fruit belongs on a list about blood flow. When you eat watermelon, your body takes that L-citrulline and converts it into another amino acid called L-arginine, and then L-arginine gets converted into nitric oxide. That is the same nitric oxide we talked about with cayenne pepper, the molecule that relaxes and widens blood vessels. But here is what makes watermelon special. A study published in the American Journal of Hypertension tested the effects of watermelon extract on adults with elevated blood pressure and arterial stiffness. After just 6 weeks, participants who took watermelon extract showed a significant improvement in aortic blood pressure and a reduction in the wave reflection index, which measures how efficiently blood travels through the body and down to the extremities. The researchers found that ankle blood pressure improved meaningfully, which is a direct indicator of better blood flow to the legs and feet. A separate study from Florida State University found that watermelon supplementation reduced aortic systolic blood pressure by up to 7 points in overweight adults. And that kind of drop is substantial when you consider that every point of blood pressure reduction means less strain on your entire vascular system. For people over 60 dealing with stiff arteries and reduced leg circulation, this is incredibly relevant because L-citrulline works specifically on the pathway that your body relies on to keep vessels flexible and open. The best way to get these benefits is to eat the fruit fresh and ripe because the redder the flesh, the higher the concentration of L-citrulline. But here is a detail most people miss entirely. The white rind of the watermelon, that part between the red flesh and the green skin that everybody throws away, actually contains even more L-citrulline than the red part. You can blend the rind into smoothies, pickle it, or juice it alongside the red flesh to get a significantly higher dose. Aim for about 2 cups of fresh watermelon daily and try to eat it on an empty stomach or between meals because L-citrulline absorbs best when it is not competing with large amounts of other proteins. Cold watermelon straight from the fridge is perfectly fine. The citrulline content is not affected by temperature. This is a genuinely delicious way to support your leg circulation every single day. Now, as powerful as watermelon is, the next food on our list brings something even more targeted to the table. Number 4. Fatty fish. If your legs feel heavy and tired by the end of the day, there is a very good chance that chronic inflammation inside your blood vessels is part of the problem. And this is where fatty fish becomes one of your most powerful allies. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. And these two compounds have been studied more extensively for cardiovascular health than almost any other nutrient on the planet. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association analyzed data from over 40,000 participants and found that those with the highest omega-3 levels in their blood had a 15% lower risk of peripheral artery disease compared to those with the lowest levels. That is directly about blood flow to the legs. Omega-3s work on multiple fronts simultaneously. First, they reduce inflammation in the endothelial cells that line your blood vessels. And when that inflammation goes down, the vessels can dilate more effectively. Second, omega-3s make your blood slightly less viscous, meaning it flows more easily through narrow passages without clumping or sticking. Third, they help reduce triglyceride levels, which when elevated contribute to plaque buildup inside the arteries that supply your lower limbs. A study in the journal Atherosclerosis found that participants who consumed fatty fish at least 3 times per week had measurably better ankle brachial index scores after 12 months. And the ankle brachial index is the primary clinical measurement doctors use to assess how well blood is flowing to your legs. The improvement was especially notable in adults over 60 who had early signs of circulatory decline. Now, preparing fatty fish for maximum benefit is important because how you cook it affects how much omega-3 you actually retain. Baking or broiling fish at moderate temperatures preserves the most EPA and DHA, while deep frying destroys a significant portion of these delicate fats and also adds inflammatory oils that work against you. Wild-caught salmon is generally the best option because it tends to have higher omega-3 content than foreign varieties. But if cost is a concern, canned sardines are actually one of the most nutrient-dense and affordable sources available. Aim for at least 3 servings per week, with each serving being about the size of the palm of your hand. Pair your fish with leafy greens and a squeeze of lemon because the vitamin C actually helps protect the omega-3s from oxidation during digestion. If you cannot eat fish due to allergies, high-quality fish oil supplements can provide similar benefits, but whole fish gives you the added advantage of protein and vitamin D, which also support vascular health as you age. Fish is fantastic for fighting inflammation, but the next food on our list attacks poor circulation from a completely different and surprising angle. Number 3. Pomegranate. There is a reason ancient cultures called the pomegranate a symbol of life and vitality, and modern science is now proving that this fruit might actually deserve that reputation. Pomegranate is absolutely packed with polyphenol antioxidants, particularly a group called punicalagins and ellagic acid, and these compounds do something that very few other foods can match. They protect the nitric oxide molecules that are already in your bloodstream from being destroyed by oxidative stress. Think about it this way. Your body is constantly producing nitric oxide to keep your blood vessels open, but free radicals are constantly destroying it at the same time. As you get older, the free radicals win more often, and that is one reason circulation declines after 60. Pomegranate essentially acts as a bodyguard for your nitric oxide, keeping it active longer so your vessels stay wider and blood keeps flowing. The study published in Clinical Nutrition tested the effects of pomegranate juice on patients with carotid artery stenosis, which is a narrowing of the major arteries. After 1 year of daily pomegranate juice consumption, participants saw a 30% reduction in arterial plaque thickness, while the control group that did not drink the juice actually saw a 9% increase in plaque. That is a massive difference. Another study in the journal Atherosclerosis found that pomegranate juice improved blood flow velocity and reduced systolic blood pressure by 5% in participants who drank just 50 milliliters per day for 2 weeks. For leg circulation specifically, a study from the Rambam Medical Center showed that the antioxidant activity of pomegranate juice was 3 times higher than that of red wine or green tea, meaning it provides superior protection against the oxidative damage that stiffens arteries and restricts blood flow to the lower body. The best way to consume pomegranate for circulation is to drink pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice or eat the fresh seeds directly. When you are buying juice, check the label carefully because many commercial pomegranate drinks are loaded with added sugars and diluted with apple or grape juice, which reduces the polyphenol concentration dramatically. A glass of about 240 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice daily is the amount most studies use to achieve their results. If you prefer eating the whole fruit, 1 medium pomegranate gives you roughly the same amount of polyphenols. You can scatter the seeds over oatmeal, blend them into smoothies, or simply eat them by the handful as a snack. Try to consume pomegranate consistently rather than sporadically because the antioxidant protection builds up over time, and the studies that showed the best results were all based on daily consumption over weeks and months. Pomegranate is a true circulation powerhouse, but the next food is going to surprise you with how indulgent it is. Number 2. Dark chocolate. This is the part of the video where most people lean in a little closer because yes, chocolate is on this list, and there is serious research to back it up. But before you grab just any chocolate bar, you need to understand what makes dark chocolate different from the candy that lines grocery store checkout aisles. Dark chocolate, specifically varieties with 70% cocoa content or higher, is rich in compounds called flavonols, and cocoa flavonols are some of the most studied circulation-boosting compounds in all of nutritional science. A major study published in the British Journal of Nutrition tested the effects of high flavanol cocoa on vascular function in older adults and found that participants who consumed high flavanol cocoa drinks daily for 30 days experienced a significant improvement in flow-mediated dilation, which is the medical term for how well your blood vessels expand when blood flow increases. The improvement was around 30% compared to the control group. That is remarkable for a food-based intervention. The Cumana people of Panama, who traditionally consume enormous amounts of natural cocoa, have extremely low rates of hypertension and cardiovascular disease compared to mainland populations, and researchers have linked this directly to their high flavanol intake. A separate study in the journal Heart found that adults who consumed dark chocolate at least 5 times per week had a 57% lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who never ate it. The mechanism behind this is that cocoa flavonols stimulate the endothelial cells in your blood vessels to produce more nitric oxide, and they also improve the flexibility of your artery walls so they can expand and contract more effectively with each heartbeat. For older adults with declining leg circulation, this flexibility is everything because stiff arteries are the #1 mechanical reason blood has trouble reaching your lower extremities. The key to getting these benefits is choosing the right chocolate and eating the right amount. Look for dark chocolate that lists cocoa or cacao as the first ingredient and has at least 70% cocoa content. A daily serving of about 30 to 40 grams, which is roughly 1 to 2 small squares, is the sweet spot that most studies use to achieve positive results. Eating more than that adds excessive sugar and calories without proportionally increasing the circulatory benefits. You can also use raw cacao powder in smoothies, oatmeal, or warm beverages, and this is actually the most potent form because it has not been processed with heat that destroys some of the flavonols. Avoid milk chocolate and white chocolate entirely for this purpose because the dairy and sugar content interferes with flavanol absorption, and the cocoa concentration is far too low to have any meaningful vascular effect. Dark chocolate is an incredible tool for your arteries, but the #1 food on this list has research results that put everything else to shame. Number 1. Beetroot. If there is one single food that you add to your diet after watching this video, it needs to be this one. Beetroot has been the subject of more circulation research in the past decade than almost any other whole food, and the results are nothing short of extraordinary. Beetroot is extremely rich in dietary nitrates, and when you eat it, the bacteria on your tongue convert those nitrates into nitrites, which then get converted into nitric oxide in your bloodstream. This is a direct and highly efficient pathway to increasing the molecule that opens your blood vessels and pushes more blood to your legs. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Hypertension found that drinking just 250 milliliters of beetroot juice lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 10 points within just 3 hours, and the effects lasted for up to 24 hours. To put that in perspective, that is comparable to the effect of some prescription blood pressure medications. A study from the University of Exeter published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that beetroot juice increased blood flow to skeletal muscles by 38% during exercise, with the most significant improvements occurring in the type 2 muscle fibers that are predominant in your legs. For older adults specifically, a study in the Journal of the American Heart Association tested beetroot juice on adults with an average age of 67 and found that after just 2 weeks of daily consumption, participants had significant improvements in walking endurance and a measurable increase in blood flow velocity in their lower limbs. The researchers noted that the improvements in exercise tolerance were directly correlated with increases in plasma nitrate and nitrite levels. Another study published in Nutrients found that older adults who consumed beetroot juice for 6 weeks showed improved endothelial function by 24% and reduced arterial stiffness compared to the placebo group. This is what makes beetroot the undisputed champion of this list. No other food has this combination of potency, speed of effect, and depth of research behind it. Now, for maximum benefit, You want to consume beetroot in a way that preserves the nitrate content. Raw beetroot juice is the gold standard because juicing concentrates the nitrates without destroying them through heat. If you do not have a juicer, you can grate raw beetroot into salads or blend it into smoothies with berries to mask the earthy taste. Roasting beetroot is also acceptable, but keep the temperature moderate because excessive heat does reduce nitrate content somewhat. Aim for about 1 to 2 medium beets or 250 milliliters of juice daily. Ideally consume 2 to 3 hours before any physical activity like walking or exercise for the best circulatory boost to your legs. One important thing to note is that antibacterial mouthwash can actually block the conversion of nitrates to nitrites because it kills the mouth bacteria needed for that first step. So avoid using mouthwash right before or after consuming beetroot if you want the full benefit. There you have it, 6 incredible foods that science has proven can naturally boost blood flow to your legs after 60. From the capsaicin in cayenne pepper all the way to the powerful nitrates in beetroot, each of these foods works through a different mechanism to open your blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and get more oxygen-rich blood flowing to your lower limbs. You do not need to add all 6 at once. Start with 1 or 2 that appeal to you, make them a consistent part of your daily routine, and build from there. Your legs carried you this far in life, and they deserve the support. If you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our new videos on staying strong and healthy as you age. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.